Welcome to the Strictly Business Podcast.
Hey guys, before you watch this amazing video, please do me one favor and subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the doorbell and give it a thumbs up. That will mean the world to me. Thank you. I just wanted to talk to you guys about how to maximize your content efforts for both SEO and for social media. So let me jump right into that. So everyone knows that, SEO is really, really important. You've got to create a lot of content, and the same thing on social media. And there's a lot of social media gurus telling you sort of how to build content and how to run ads. So today I wanted to talk to you about what you can, an SEO strategy that I think is the best for maximizing both your blogging text efforts as well as embedding and integrating that on your social media so you can be as most efficient as possible when creating your content, as well as saturating and creating the best possible chances of being found by your customers. So I'm going to use an example today of a pest control company. So what's going to happen is every time I sort of give examples of content suggestions, images, things like that, it's going to be based upon a pest control company, and you're just going to have to interpret it yourself. And if you've got any questions, hey man, just email us and I'll get back to you, andrew@americandigital.com.au. So for example, we've done the research, we know that there is a substantial amount of traffic for the keyword how to get rid of ants. Now, what I've basically been telling our client is, let's produce that piece of content, how to get rid of ants. Most websites are now built on WordPress, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue for you. If you are struggling to sort of create blog post content, then you may need to actually talk to your web developer and figure out how you can get a blog installed on your website. Most websites are built on WordPress, so the blogging functionality is built in, but just in case, you need to talk to a web developer or an IT specialist. So how to get rid of ants. What I recommend is create, and whatever that looks like for you in your industry, you have to figure out what people are asking in regards to help. How-tos are one of my favorites because pretty much every industry, there's a how-to, there's a what is, there's questions being asked that it's going to improve your website and your business visibility. Marketing is not sales. And so when you're producing content, it does seem like some clients will sort of have in their tone, or they even ask us directly, why do we want to give away our trade secrets? Why do we want to give away our DIY tips? And my answer is always the same, because you cannot underestimate how lazy people are. And just sometimes people just think, myself included, when it comes to pest control, that I'm not going to do it myself and that it's just not worth it. For $195, $200, $300 for someone to spray my house once a year, I don't want to get involved. And so a lot of people feel the exact same way. And even if what DIY tips can also do is also showcase how difficult it is to do tasks on your own when you don't have the expertise, and when you're sort of not the most how-to DIY person, i.e. me, finding ways, getting other people to do them for me is something that I always prefer, provided that I believe that they can do a really great job to get a professional involved, and that's sort of always how I've leaned. So when you create a piece of content, a how-to piece of content, in this case, how to get rid of ants, you write a 1,500-word article. And in that article, you also include images. And those images should be high-quality images that you can use in the blog and on Instagram and Facebook. And the reason that I recommend to clients not just posting images on Instagram and not the website is because when people are doing a Google image search, those images will be attributed and the traffic will basically lean towards Instagram. So it's your content that you're basically directing that traffic back to Instagram. Even if it is landing on your profile, it's still traffic that then has to come back to your website if that's important. And I just find you might as well upload it to both platforms. So you can maximize your leverage on the images. So the images you believe are Instagram worthy, that those should also be embedded nice, big. You can even use something different widgets where if you click on the image, the image even blows up and is really high def, and then you can also scale it down because you want to obviously optimize for page speed. So when you are writing an article like how do I get rid of ants, and you are writing 1,500 words, embed the Instagram worthy or the best possible quality images you can, provided that you try to keep image sizes well under 1 megabyte. Try to keep them around 200 or less if possible. So the formats that you use, try to keep track of that. There's a lot of new image file formats out there. There's different ways to sort of embed images to reduce file size, and there's a lot of different things you can do. But as a rule of thumb, try to keep image size down, but maintaining pretty decent quality. If you do have to sacrifice a little bit of quality for the actual reducing of the file size of those images, then definitely do it, because it's just not worth having a web page that loads slow, because most of the time people are going to click back. And you also have to make sure that most of the time those people would be searching and browsing your content from a mobile device. So how do I get rid of ants? 1,500 words, and under each subheading, so you might be, how do I get rid of ants? What are some natural treatments? And then underneath you've got ants, you might have a picture of the natural treatments that you use that you're going to also post on Instagram. So you might want an article with about 4 or 5 images, and you also want to post those images each in separate posts on Instagram. You can refer back to the article, but if it's not generally running ads, it's not going to be linked. It's going to be hard for the person. You can put your blog link in your Instagram bio. I know a lot of people who actually do that, so you can opt for that option if you like. But those images should have individual posts on Instagram. And speaking about each subheading, when you're posting an image, take some of that text and write it for Instagram. So you have to realize Instagram's probably going to be a little bit more lighthearted than your blog post. So if it's a picture of ants with a natural pesticide or whatever that you're using to remove the ants from your home, make sure that you're describing, this is the chemicals we use, and then it gives you got 5 images that you're using under each post, that then you can take each image and give it context around that particular subheading. So if it's, natural pest treatment of the removal of ants, or, a picture of, ants on the floor and someone stepping on them and say, DIY tips that don't work in your article, then put that picture on Instagram and show how there's DIY tips that don't work and give that context. So your article has all the images under the relevant subheadings, and a nice image layout normally is like a list form, or, like 5 DIY tips to get rid of ants, or 5 easy ways to get rid of ants. And then how to get rid of ants is great. That would be direct, but you might also want to put some, like a list form in that as well, like a list format, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to cover multiple different options and across different industries and different scenarios, so it's really, really tough. But once you've got those images, they're also in your blog. Now what I recommend that you do is create a YouTube video. And on the YouTube video, you can actually demonstrate every single point. So if perhaps, your article talks about the natural treatment of pest removal, you're in that video, demonstrating on YouTube, how to get rid of ants naturally from your home. You've got that video, you've taken about a 5-6 minute video, you're in it, nice, dressed professionally, look the part, and then you're speaking about that and providing a little bit more context, and it's visual. So if you can show yourself in the physical treatment of the removal of ants using that natural product, you can show befores and afters, and then you can take that YouTube video. The reason that I recommend YouTube over every other platform when it comes to maximizing your visibility through video content and for SEO is because Google owns it, and they're more likely to embed a YouTube content than a Facebook video. But it's not a clear-cut rule, but I just personally recommend YouTube. So you take that YouTube video that's optimized for YouTube audience, but you're embedding that into your article. And there's many different ways to embed YouTube videos to make them look the part. If you go to amigadigital.com.au, you'll see on our homepage we've got a nice picture with a little play button that's all sort of themed and it matches the design of our website. And then when you click on that, then a video opens. So there's a lot of different tricks you can use to have like an outer layer that then when they click on it, then it just opens up YouTube rather than just a simple basic YouTube embed. So I definitely recommend embedding those YouTube videos. Then you got two options for your audio. So what you want to cover is text, video, audio. So for audio, you want to build a podcast. There's two ways you can actually go about doing that, and then you can embed those audio files into your platform. So you can either take that video content. If it's really visual, it's going to be really hard, so you might have to use the latter option that I'm going to discuss. But if you can take that video, if it's really like this format, for example, where it's not really visual, you don't really need to see me, I'm going to take this exact video and convert it into audio and upload it to SoundCloud, that it gets distributed to iTunes and I believe Spotify, but there's a bit of issues there. But the platform that I recommend, I've been doing that since 2018, but the platform I recommend is Anchor.fm. I think that's the best platform. It does all the distribution for you. So you can either convert that to audio and then upload it to Anchor FM, and that will get distributed to iTunes and all the major Google Podcasts and the rest. So that distribution, which is really powerful, is done for you in that app. Or you can, if it doesn't make sense to convert your video format into audio, then you might need to actually redo the podcast around the removal of ants in a way that people who are listening can basically understand exactly what you're doing. And sometimes I even basically I've given the advice of the clients, even if you read out the article and then just sort of deviate where it makes sense, where you can elaborate and give more detail, and sometimes audibly you can sort of quickly touch on different areas without creating a super long podcast. And that way you can take that podcast and then you can embed it into the article. And so one of my favorite ways to do that is I just take like an embed file and I'll dump it in. But because my content is largely video based, I haven't even started doing that yet on a massive scale. But embedding audio files into your blog article, so if someone lands on that article and then have to drive somewhere, they can actually listen to it. Or if they have the ability to read and to watch your content, you've got audio, you've got video, and you've got text-based content that's ready to saturate your target market. And by having the videos, and if you can actually embed the Google Podcasts into your article, definitely do that. But I haven't done that before, so I don't know exactly how that works, but I would definitely recommend embedding those audio files into your article. So then you've got a potentially chance to rank for Anchor on Google Podcast. When someone types in how to get rid of ants, you've got images. So before you even look at Google image search, actual images can actually physically rank on the standard web results where most of the attention's going to be. And when you're naming those files, actually call them, how to get rid of ants with natural treatment.jpg, for example, and make sure you actually use the right file names. And so now those images can potentially rank. You've got the web page, the blog, obviously, that you've written that can try to rank. You've also got the video itself that can rank on the Google search results. So you've got audio, you've got video, you've got the text, and you've got the images, all ready to rank from one piece of content. And then you take all those videos, take those images and distribute them on Instagram and on Facebook. And from one piece of content, you can then create and distribute multiple different smaller pieces, providing context. And you're going to, if you do that for an extended period of time, based upon the fact that people are searching for that on Instagram, on Google and on YouTube search, you are going to increase views, you're going to increase traffic. And I do this I'm trying to push my clients to do this even at a grander scale, but even the scale that we are doing it is getting success. It is driving quality traffic to the website, and even if they're not ready to buy, you can always retarget them later using other techniques. So having a one piece of text blog content, creating really good quality images, creating a really good quality video on YouTube that embeds into the article, and turning that into an audible piece of podcast goodness, you've now basically ticked every single box. And I know, and I'm one of them. I'm not great at text, and I'm not really that good on video. My favorite platform is audio. You don't see me, and I've got to go on my rants, and I'm walking out in the wilderness where I'm comfortable. It just fits me better. But then I've got people to help me write content that are better writers. But I would rather you, if you can't afford someone to write content, I'd rather you write content yourself on 1,000, 1,500 words. And if you need ideas, I want to take away all the excuses from you. So you can email me at andrew@omegadigital.com.au. Tell me your industry and I'll give you some ideas to write about. I'll give you 5 ideas to write about. And once they're all done, you've done exactly what I've told you to do, I'll give you more, because I want to take away your excuse not to create content, flush it down the toilet and say saranara. I think that's how you say it, saranara. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. If you've got any questions, if it's on YouTube, leave me a comment if you can. And if you want to email and outreach and Twitter us, it's at Omega Digital, at Andrew Glintos. If you want to tweet at me personally, send me an email and tell me how good I've done on this video at andrew@omegadigital.com.au. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a wonderful day.